So here to solve this skyscrapers puzzle called 2 Sandwich, which worked initially off of these 8 clues on the top and bottom of the grid that were alternating and how the row clues would really impact them. The 7 at the bottom only has this large space for its clues. We have an increasing series working up from it. The first place your eye is meant to be drawn with that is actually that this 2 clue sees a small building and still has to then hide these buildings behind it because these can't be 8s until we get to here. So if this is a 3 and this is an 8, this just works out. The 3 here puts in a 4, 5, 6, 7, counting up. On the top, this row doesn't allow for any place for an 8 except here, which means coming back to the bottom. This 6 has to have an 8 on the far end. Actually, this one clue isn't necessary, but for symmetry, I put it in. The 2, which sees this 8, is going to have a 7 right in front of it. And so these 7s now mean that a 7 has to be at least in this column or further left for the 6 clue. But where this will now have to see 6 buildings, a 7 in the cell is required. Can't be any further to the left. This 2 is seen with a building to the left being seen, so that puts this in. This 5 is larger than this building, but this building is seen by the left, so this has to be 3, 4 coming up, leaving just 5, 6 in the grid. We got a 1 over here, and a good start to this part of the puzzle. This 8 means that this 2 sees an 8 in this cell. Coming across here, we need to get an 8 in one of these cells for this row, for the 3, 4 to work out. This 5 coming down here has to have an 8 in this cell. This 3 coming up has no constraints on where those go, but maybe this 5 coming across does. Here it is. This 5 has a constraint, it has to sit at least here. Got these 3 other 8s in the grid, so this 8 are required. What we can then do is recognize this 5 is 5 buildings away from that 8, so all buildings are seen. So where 1, 2 isn't here, this is 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, counting up. This first column has a building here that can't be larger than a 6, but it's got to be larger than the building under it. So this is 4, 5, 6, concealing 3, 4, 5. This has to be smaller than a 7, so the only place for a 7 looks to be here. So actually this row is now becoming interesting. We know one of the buildings that is hidden as a 7. The other building that's hidden is the 1, because 1 can't be in the first cell. So 1 is somewhere here. Then the rest of the digits can be 2, hiding a 3 in one of these cells, a 4 in one of these cells, a 5 in one of these 2 cells, a 6 in one of these cells. And this 5 down here actually means the 5 requirement is to the right, 5, pushing 4, pushing 3, and you have a 1, 6 pair. So this is absolutely required at this stage, and is a good example of some of the ladders you can get in harder skyscrapers puzzles. We still have a count coming through here, and so this column needs a 7. And if this is the set of 5 buildings being seen, 7 being here looks to be required. So we actually have a case where we have 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 6 as this ladder based off the other values we've gotten. This all looks good, but one thing I see is that where do 1 and 2 go in this row? Not in any of these cells. 1, 2 is right here. This is the 3, 4, 5, 6. The 8 over on the right side means this has to be a 7. So let's look back at 7s and see if we can place the last of them. We have 6 in the grid right now. So we have to place 1 here and 1 here to finish that out. Those all look good. This 3 no longer now has, with a 7 over here, an option to be a 6. So this has to be a 4, 5, hiding a smaller digit under it, which is 3, 4. That means this actually has to be a 5. And this has to be a 6 here. If this is a 5, then a 6 is seen in one of these cells, but a 6 can't be in this cell or this cell. So one of these is a 6. Looks to be that constraint. On this side, that means that this is a 3 or 4 only, because 5, 6, 7, 8 are seen, and 1, 2 is in the column already. Up here, this is a 4 that's got to see some big buildings, but look at some of the constraints here. It can't see the 7, so 4, 5, 6, 8 is okay, or 3, 4 something, but where it can't be a 5. And I think that's going to be a key consideration for us because now we actually have a 3-4 pair, which puts in a 2 and a 1. We still need to have a 1 somewhere here, but we're going to have this 3 or 4, and then a 5 scene, and then a 6 scene. So where 5 and 6 are down below, this being a 5, this being a 6, this being a 1, looks like it's required for that 4, 6 to get seen. We've got 2, 3, 4 left in this column, so we'll just mark that in. We've got 5, 6 left in this column, but one option's already eliminated, so that means this comes in quickly. Puts in a 4, puts in a 3, puts in a 4, so this is 2, 3. We've got 2, 3, 4, so this is 5 and 6 to finish this column. So this is 2, 3 to finish this space with a 3 down below. Got a 1, 6 here. This 1 moves 1, 6, 6, 3. 2 and 4. 4s are in a lot of spaces right now. But let's see here, we've got that 5 up above, puts in a 5 and a 6. Does that help us? We've got 1, 2, 4, so this is another 2, 4. So this is last space for a 3. Got 1, 2, and this as a 1, 2, 4. So the last eliminations are going to come from making this 3 be valid, and that means this has to be a 2. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, and we're through the puzzle. So pretty complex grid in different respects, but it did use a lot around the 2s. For instance, seeing this tiny 2, forcing a lot of the start, even seeing sort of the effects of this 2 clue here, and at the end of the puzzle, this 2 clue here, influencing the rest of the grid. A lot of the rest were these long-reaching clues, particularly like where the 6 clue, once you place a 7 in the spot and you know that a 1 is hidden from it, this has a very easy way it works forward. So hopefully you ran into some of those steps which were intended along the solving path. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you again soon.